Marvel Studios has received a huge amount of criticism in recent years. But these movies and TV shows prove that the Marvel Cinematic Universe did not die after 2019's Avengers Endgame. The Russo brothers' Avengers Endgame is widely regarded to be the pinnacle of the MCU. It became not only the franchise's highest-grossing movie, but the highest-grossing movie of all time before Avatar's 2021 re-release. Avengers Endgame's immense success made it hard for the MCU to maintain this high standard, but audiences might also have been too harsh on Marvel Studios. Some would argue that Avengers Endgame destroyed the MCU by achieving such a high level of success, but this critical statement is small-minded, unnecessary, and simply not true. While there was a clear drop in quality in some projects due to Marvel Studios' expansion into producing long-form MCU TV shows for Disney Plus alongside its feature films, there are many projects in the Multiverse saga that are just as good as, or even better than projects before Endgame. These 10 movies and TV shows are just a few, proving the Marvel Cinematic Universe is not dead. WandaVision. WandaVision was the first MCU project that was released after Avengers Endgame and delays caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, and the series set an incredibly high bar for the multiverse saga. Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany finally became main characters as Wanda Maximoff and Vision in WandaVision, and the series also saw Marvel branch out into new genres, cinematic styles, storytelling techniques, and character developments. WandaVision quickly became one of the MCU's most popular installments, thanks in part to the work of creator Jack Schaefer and director Matt Shakman. Schaefer and Shakman have both since returned to Marvel Studios, proving the work they did in WandaVision has been valued. The Phase 4 series also marked huge progressions for the Scarlet Witch and Vision, while formidable new characters also joined the MCU, including Agatha Harkness, Billy and Tommy Maximoff, and Monica Rambeau, all of whom developed the entire trajectory of the MCU brilliantly. WandaVision will always stand out as one of the MCU's most beloved projects, a jewel in the crown of the MCU's Phase 4. Loki. Similarly to Wanda Maximoff and Vision, Tom Hiddleston's Loki had never been a main character before, but 2021's Loki Season 1 and 2023's second season put him front and center. This version of Loki escaped from the Avengers in 2012 during Endgame's time heist, so could have easily continued his mission for his glorious purpose. Instead, this new Loki went on to become one of the MCU's most powerful characters yet, and perhaps one of its most significant heroes, as he transformed into the protector of the entire multiverse, proving Loki's importance in the MCU. Loki began to establish Kang the Conqueror's storyline in the multiverse saga, and while that might now be meaningless, it still made Loki a crucial part of the MCU. This was the first project to really explore the concept of the multiverse head-on, and given its importance, it was great to see Loki's storyline handled so faithfully and powerfully. The series was a huge success for both the MCU's Phases 4 and 5, and it will lead directly into Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars, so it's just another remarkable success story for Marvel Studios. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. It's hard to believe that Simu Liu's Shang-Chi hasn't appeared in the MCU since his debut in 2021's eponymous Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, as his introduction was one of the most celebrated aspects of Phase 4. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings marked Destin Daniel Cretton's exhilarating directorial debut in the MCU, though the movie's $432.2 million box office earnings might not reflect that, while its 98% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes certainly does. There's little to complain about when considering Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. The Phase 4 movie established a brand new corner of the MCU while connecting to stories and characters from the MCU's entire history, dating all the way back to 2008's Iron Man, which first introduced the Ten Rings. Shang-Chi is one of the most charismatic, skilled and powerful new heroes, and his debut proved that. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings delivered laughs, action, representation and tenderness in spades, and Marvel loved Cretton's work so much. The director is returning to lead Spider-Man Brand New Day, so this is certainly a high point for the MCU. Moon Knight. Oscar Isaac has been one of the most exciting additions to the MCU in recent years. He has a huge amount of talent, and is a very notable name, so it was brilliant to see him debut as Mark Spector, Stephen Grant and Jake Lockley, the alters of Spector's Moon Knight. Moon Knight was a thrilling ride from beginning to end, showcasing one of the MCU's most powerful new antiheroes, and perhaps setting up a possible Midnight Suns adaptation, which is highly anticipated among die-hard fans of Marvel Comics and Marvel's supernatural characters. Moon Knight has been the subject of much discussion concerning which MCU TV shows should get second seasons, alongside the likes of Ms. Marvel, Hawkeye, and She-Hulk Attorney at Law. Moon Knight's story deserves to be continued, especially since the series explored previously unseen corners of the MCU's pantheon. Moon Knight is one of the most popular supernatural and street-level heroes in Marvel Comics, so it would be fantastic to see him get developed in more detail in the MCU, and Moon Knight's popularity means this is possibly quite likely. Ms. Marvel. 2022's Ms. Marvel series might have had a number of its own flaws, but Iman Vellani's inclusion in the Jersey City set series makes Ms. Marvel a shining light in the MCU's Phase 4. Iman Vellani's Kamala Khan is one of the most joyous and entertaining new characters introduced to the MCU in recent years, especially after Kamala unlocked her mutant and clandestine abilities by donning her quantum band. Ms. Marvel certainly had problems with its narrative, its villains and its pacing, but there is also a lot to love about the Phase 4 series. The representation of Pakistani culture and Kamala Khan's own family dynamic was beautiful to watch, while Kamala coming to terms with her newfound abilities while also struggling with being a regular teenager was relatable and convincing. Iman Vellani's joy and emotional dedication at every moment translated into 2023's The Marvels, and will likely be captured in every future MCU project she appears in. Ms. Marvel might not have been perfect, but the series was certainly still a fun debut for Kamala Khan, so it still acts as proof that the MCU isn't dead. Werewolf by Night. Werewolf by Night was a huge experiment for Marvel Studios, but it certainly paid off. This was the MCU's first special presentation, and the first Marvel project to be directed by composer Michael Giacchino. Released initially in black and white, with only hints of color to highlight the Bloodstone and the ending moment shared between Jack Russell and Man-Thing, Werewolf by Night was a stylistic phenomenon for the MCU. It's a shame that Marvel Studios hasn't capitalized on the special presentation format following Werewolf by Night, since it was such a success story. Some have criticized Marvel's recent experimentation and disconnection between projects in the multiverse saga, and Werewolf by Night may have contributed to this. The exploration of Jack Russell and some of Marvel Comics' weirdest and most monstrous characters in a seemingly standalone story was a risk for the MCU. However, it's this experimentation that makes storytelling in the MCU so exciting, as we never know what's on the horizon next. Werewolf by Night is remarkably strong and something completely fresh for the MCU. It'd be great to see more of this. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was a long time coming, but it was the perfect ending to James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy. Volume 3 released during a troubled time for the MCU, but was just another project that acted as proof the MCU hasn't died at all, and is, in fact, still going strong, as long as creatives put in the effort. James Gunn has always been dedicated to the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise, and Volume 3 was testament to that, despite it being his last hurrah before departing to lead DC Studios. Wrapping up the story of the MCU's premier cosmic team after their adventures in 2 feature films, 2 Avengers movies and a special presentation, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 struck the perfect balance of heart, action, comedy and intensity. It's unclear what the future holds for the Guardians of the Galaxy, but if it's going to be the end, Volume 3 was the perfect way to conclude their story. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 almost hit the $900 million mark of the box office, making it an immense success in Phase 5, which was laced with disappointing installments. Deadpool and Wolverine. One MCU movie that didn't have a problem far surpassing the $1 billion mark at the box office was 2024's Deadpool and Wolverine, which bridged the gap between the MCU and 20th Century Fox's X-Men franchise. Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman's debut in the MCU proper was seriously impressive, packing in laughs, drama and high-intensity action sequences, all with an emotional and heartfelt backbone. It was incredible to finally bring some iconic X-Men characters into the MCU, and some cameo appearances from other heroes we haven't seen in years. Deadpool and Wolverine quickly became the highest-grossing R-rated movie in history, which is more than enough proof that the MCU hasn't died. With more X-Men-related characters and other mutants expected to debut very soon, it only makes sense that the success of Deadpool and Wolverine will extend into upcoming stories after the Multiverse saga, revitalizing the MCU. Deadpool and Wolverine is emblematic of where the MCU is headed, which is an incredibly exciting prospect, especially with the introduction of Ryan Reynolds' Merc with a mouth into the MCU. Agatha All Along. Following on from the success of Phase 4's WandaVision, 2024's Agatha All Along marked Jack Schaefer's return to the MCU to better explore Catherine Hahn's Agatha Harkness and expand this witchy corner of the MCU. Agatha All Along was an entertaining, representative, celebratory and dramatic storyline from beginning to end, putting an almost all-female-led cast in the spotlight while introducing some of the MCU's most powerful characters. This includes the likes of Aubrey Plaza's Death and Joe Locke's Wiccan, who could have key roles in the MCU going forward. Agatha All Along continued WandaVision's themes beautifully, especially with Billy Maximoff's creation of the Witch's Road and exploring the Scarlet Witch's death and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Catherine Hahn's magnetism and the charisma and performances of her supporting cast helped make Agatha All Along one of the MCU's most popular installments very quickly. Released shortly after Deadpool and Wolverine, Agatha All Along continued the MCU's successful streak that now doesn't show any sign of slowing down. Daredevil Born Again. Despite its problems in production, including a massive creative overhaul that occurred in late 2023, Daredevil Born Again still managed to become one of the MCU's most popular and talked about projects. Born Again continued the story of Netflix's original Daredevil storyline and the recently canonized Defenders saga perfectly, and perhaps capitalized on the success of the Defenders saga. It was fantastic to see actors such as Charlie Cox, Vincent D'Onofrio, John Bernthal, Ayelet Zurer and more return, establishing clear continuity and highlighting the series' strong history. Daredevil Born Again's street-level narrative will surely be game-changing for the MCU. Wilson Fisk became mayor of New York City and outlawed vigilantism, which will no doubt impact a great many heroes in the MCU. With Daredevil Born Again Season 2 currently filming, and the possibility of The Man Without Fear crossing over into some more street-level projects, this is the beginning of a massive new chapter for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This has us very excited for Marvel Studios' future, so Avengers Endgame certainly did not kill the franchise whatsoever. Conclusion. The idea that Avengers Endgame killed the MCU is simply false. While not every post-Endgame project has landed, these shows and movies prove that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is still evolving, experimenting, and thriving, with more to come.